with your host, Upper Perk School District Superintendent, Dr. Alan Roche.
Welcome to episode 2 of the new podcast titled Inside Upper Perk, the Superintendent's View. We are in October 2025 and off to a great start to the 25-26 school year. As a reminder, the purpose of the podcast is to share highlights taking place across the Upper Perk School District, as well as take some time to get to know some of our staff, students, administrators, and many others that are influential in the day-to-day efforts here at Upper Perk. The week of October 27th, we kick off Red Ribbon Week, which is actually a tongue twister, across the district. Red Ribbon Week is nationally recognized and was developed back in 1988 to promote an awareness of the dangers of alcohol and other drugs. Activities will take place at our schools, and we are fortunate to have support from Project Live, a community group that supports our community in many ways. One major way is they support Red Ribbon Week by providing resources to each of our schools. A quick look ahead to November. Don't forget about the November 7th Upper Perk Education Foundation event, where the UP Dream Team will play basketball versus the Harlem Wizards. We heard about this in our last podcast, so don't forget to get your tickets, and information can be found on the Upper Perk Education Foundation's Facebook page. Let's get into the conversation as we have 3 great guests with us on today's episode. Our first guest on today's episode of Inside Upper Perk, the Superintendent's View, is a veteran administrator with 23 years experience at Upper Perk that has held a few different positions across the district, but for the last 6+ years, he has been the principal at the 4th and 5th grade center. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Art Vigilante to the podcast.
Good morning, Dr. Roche. Thank you for having me on your podcast here today. Looking forward to spending some time with you.
Great. Thank you for agreeing to join me, and I'm excited to talk with you and hear about great things taking place at the 4th and 5th grade center. Let's first start with a little information about you. In my introduction, I shared that you've been an employee here at Upper Perk for 23 years. Can you share the various positions that you've held while you've been employed here at Upper Perk?
Sure, absolutely. I began here at Upper Perk in 2002 as a middle school assistant principal. I stayed at the middle school for approximately 10 years. When I first started there, it was actually a 5-8 building, and we eventually transitioned to a 6-8 building. But after about 10 years, I moved up to the high school and spent 6 years at the high school as an assistant principal. Then in approximately 2019, I took over at the 4-5 center as the principal, and I've been there since.
So your first 10 years as middle school assistant principal, was that the current 4th and 5th grade center?
It is at that very same building
right. So
in East Greenville. Yep, did come full circle.
Great.
Right back where I started.
Awesome. Well, thanks for your tenure here. It's great to see someone have a full career at one location. So that's awesome. So looking back across your educational career, who were some of your mentors or role models that influenced you and your leadership style?
All right, that's a great question. I think I would be remiss not to start with my own parents. You know, the work ethic that I got from my father remains strong to this day. I've never seen a man work so hard throughout his life to provide for his family. So certainly recognition to my father on that side, and then my mother. And when it comes to my mom, there's no one like her. Her emphasis on education, her values, and her belief in family and family first mentality, you know, kind of been what I was raised with and what I still believe to this day and try to pass on to my own children. Professionally, I think one mentor stands out above all others, and that was Mr. Dwayne Wickard, Butch.
Okay, so I've heard of Butch.
Butch Wickard was an assistant principal with me when I started at the middle school in 2002 and then became principal. And I worked as his assistant principal for approximately 8.5 years. And there's never been someone who believed in Upper Perk more than Mr. Wickard. He lives in Upper Perk, still resides in Upper Perk. His grandson, shout out to Briz, is a 4th grade student at Upper Perk. You know, just kind of one of those individuals who you can see how family first, making people first, students first was the complete mentality that he had, and kind of passed off however he could, and you know, just kind of understanding the importance of relationships.
Wow, thanks for sharing that. What led you to wanting to be to take the principalship? So you were assistant principal for a period of time at the middle school and the high school, and then the opportunity came open with the transition here in the district to the 4th and 5th grade center. What led you to want to be like, you know what, that's my step. I'm going to be a leader at a level that I wasn't an administrator before.
Right. I mean, to me, it was just an excellent opportunity and a perfect timing in my own personal life. With raising my two sons, I was very actively involved in coaching every sport that they played, which I truly enjoyed. And as they got older and moved on to their middle school and high school years, it just kind of fit timing-wise that I would have that additional time needed for this type of role. Plus the opportunity of working with 4th and 5th grade, which really is right in my wheelhouse. You know, my teaching career, the majority of years I spent in Allentown were in 3rd through 5th grade classrooms. So it's just a great age level for students. They're still eager to learn, still excited to learn, and at the same time, you know, they're still children that are growing and maturing.
So although your administrative experience initially was more at the secondary level, your teaching experience was in the elementary school.
Yeah,
so
that's
that was
correct.
A natural fit.
Upper elementary primarily.
Nice. And I think that your experience coming through Upper Perk for that amount of years helped with the transition. That's the same time you were taking over the 4th and 5th grade centers when I started here as superintendent, and we know there was a lot of change going on with the new middle school being built and transitioning there, and also the reduction of grades K through 5 at Marlboro and Hereford into the 4th and 5th grade center. So I'm sure that leadership really helped to stabilize that transition. So now that you're at your 7th year as principal, what do you think sets the 4th and 5th grade center apart from the other 4 schools in the district?
It's just an excellent transition building, I think, for our students coming from both Marlboro and Hereford. It's an opportunity to kind of break away a little bit and gain some independence, while at the same time remembering they're still elementary children. And although we're walking them to everywhere that they go,
Sure.
There's still that little bit of extra independence that's given to them. And a lot of the functions that we do at the school are driven by them as students. Our student council is so heavily involved in the different events that we have throughout the year, promoting them and supporting them and encouraging them. It makes it just a unique environment. Along with that, along with the children being great, it's all fostered through our teachers. The teachers at the 4-5 Center are amazing for a lot of reasons. They really do go above and beyond for our children on a daily basis. Their level of responsiveness to the needs of children each year, because every year seems like it's like a whole new year. And as you remember back to when we opened in 2019, that March was the time period that we ran into all the struggles with COVID.
Sure.
And that was a lot for a staff that was just coming together and an entity that was just being formed. So throughout the process of the last 6 years, we continue to grow and evolve, and a lot of it is due to the willingness of our staff to continuously improve, and that willingness isn't seen everywhere. They embrace it, they believe in it, and they foster it, and it's seen on a daily basis to their level of collaboration and planning that goes into what makes our 4-5 Center such a unique place to be, and in general the place to be.
Yeah, I would agree. I think your first part of your answer there about the students. I also always see you engage with the students out on the recess area, in the cafeteria, and having conversations and taking their feedback, which is important. I think that's where they really start to grow and hear that. And I couldn't support your ending of your response there about the teachers, because I do get a chance to see unique views coming in and out of schools and see the effort from all of our teachers across the district, but definitely at the 4 or 5, and the time it took went from, again, six plus years ago when the teams were formed initially, one from Hereford, one from Marlboro, building new relationships, and then the unfortunate part, you mentioned the C word, COVID, but really battling and working together through that. And the school is thriving, and the effort is on the staff. They're tremendous.
Really is. I'm blessed to be the administrator in that building. I'm there to serve them, and that's the mentality that I take. They run with it on a daily basis.
Sure. Is there any uber proud moment that you have, or an event that's out there? I know the color event is something that you're super proud of that takes place annually that maybe not everyone's aware of.
Right. We have a variety of events that occur at our building that kind of support, again, that concept of collegiality and social and having fun and making learning as much fun as you can for the students, and a lot of it's student led. We just came off of our Fall Fest food truck festival with our book fair preview, which is something that we introduced a couple years ago that has certainly held true as being a strong event for us In the spring, as you mentioned, we have our color walk, which is a lot of fun. It kind of comes in at the perfect time as we're finishing up everyone's favorite PSSA assessments and allowing our students to kind of let free a little bit and enjoy some time with their staff. And then throughout the year in the building, we do different events. In a couple of weeks, we'll have our costume parade and Fall Fest celebrations. In the winter, we have our big snowball tournament, which if you ever want to come to an event, that whiteout snowball tournament is something else as we get into the finals and everything that leads up to that. It's just so many other events throughout the year that, again, it goes back to the students and staff as they drive it and then in turn enjoy it.
Right. I'm not sure if it's the highlight of an event, but yesterday I was at the 4th and 5th grade center and outside. And every day there seems to be a very competitive kickball game going on the recess yard.
We like kickball at the 4-5 Center.
Yes.
We make sure that it's supervised as much as possible because we can get a little bit competitive, but it's a lot of fun for the children.
That was good. And actually, I was noticing that the new fencing area that's there, the students are using all that space now. Remember, before the fence, they would go out that way, but now all the way out to the fence. Kids were all the way out in the area really enjoying that space now by the playground.
Yeah, I mean, transitioning over from being a building that was meant for a middle school and even further back, a high school, there's a lot of land and a lot of surface area that our children are able to play out on the playground, which may be a little different than Hereford and Marlboro, but allows them to spread out, whether they want to enjoy kickball or tag around the jungle gym or basketball. We've seen a little uptick in baseball recently, which has been a lot of fun to watch, and then in general, just space for them to go. And as they grow in 4th and 5th grade, they still have recess, but they're in bigger bodies than they were in kindergarten and 1st grade. So that space, gives them the freedom to run around as much as they can.
Yeah, that's great.
They still need to let that energy out without a doubt.
No doubt. Well, later in the episode, I'll be talking with one of our teachers regarding artificial intelligence. So in closing out our conversation, what is your take on AI and the potential impact it has on education? What are you seeing in the classroom, working with your teachers, just about AI in general? Because I know we had some trainings this summer as an admin team, and it's here. So I just want to know what your take is leading into the conversation later I'll have.
So I look at it as something in general that society and the world is evolving into. And it's something that you have to embrace in terms of how to utilize it to maximize your efficiency and effectiveness in whatever role you're playing, whether it's as a classroom teacher or as a school administrator or a business person or in healthcare. There's so many opportunities for it to be able to solve simple problems and to support you with what you're doing. And it doesn't take away from the need for the human to be involved with it. And it's not always right, making sure that you process through and check it. But if it can help us become more effective educators in the classroom and beyond, then, embracing it is part of what we need to do. It's everywhere around us, whether it's anticipating what you're going to see when you open up your internet website or what you're going to see on the television. It's, those numbers are driving what we're going to be exposed to.
Just ever evolving and preparing our students for
absolutely.
Great. Well, I'd like to thank you for your time today, sitting and talking with me on this episode of Inside Upper Perk. Our next guest on Inside Upper Perk, the Superintendent's View, is one of our instructional coaches that works specifically with our teachers at Marlboro Elementary School and is supported by our Director of Curriculum and Instruction at the elementary level and the Marlboro Elementary School Principal. So please join me in welcoming Mrs. Mary Kay Raytek. So thanks for joining me today, Mary Kate, and I'm looking forward to our conversation to hear about the impact and the use of artificial intelligence at Upper Perk as we're kicking off this first year with our AI policy and embracing the use of AI. So are you excited?
Yes, thank you for having me.
Great. So to start it off, let me ask you about yourself a little. So what led you into education and eventually this position of instructional coach?
Yeah, so I started my education career a few years ago, back in 2008, I believe it was. I enjoyed watching the students grow. I feel like I was always chasing those light bulb moments for the students. I enjoyed collaborating with my peers and working with other teachers, and I felt that led me naturally into instructional coaching, where I could help teachers reflect on their practice and then in turn implement new ideas and impact students on a broader scale.
So what grade levels did you teach as you first started your teaching career?
Yeah, so I started as a fourth grade teacher, and then I spent majority of my time as a first grade teacher. When I first came to Upper Perk, I started as a fifth grade teacher before moving into the role.
Okay. When did you realize what an instructional coach was? When you were a fourth grade teacher, did the school district you were working with have coaches, or is that just kind of, because some people aren't overly clear what that is?
Yeah, so I first was introduced to instructional coaching actually through our district was going to one-to-one technology. So it started as a technology coach as students were starting to get their devices one-to-one. So I started actually in that district as an instructional technology coach, and then it kind of morphed into just instructional.
Daily instruction, great. Mm-hmm. Great. So what does a day in the life of an instructional coach look like? So we know our classroom teachers, they're either they have their schedules. They have either the upper level, they have the bells. At the lower level, they have their times, and they have to deliver the students for the special area teachers, and then come back and lunch and all that. What does a day in the life of a coach look like?
Yeah, so no 2 days really look the same in the coaching role.
It sounds like you're ready to be superintendent.
Yeah.
No, 2 days
I don't
look
think
the
so.
same.
No, thank you. So I really ground my work in curriculum instruction and assessment. So again, no 2 days look the same, but I find myself supporting the different curriculum shifts that we're making, working with teachers on our standards-based online curriculum. I'm also working on teachers with instructional strategies, whether that's whole group or small group. And then I am looking at assessments. So we look at student data based on those assessments, and then we revisit those instructional strategies.
Great. And then obviously the elementary school is on that 5-day cycle. So I'm sure you have a general sense of meetings and or opportunities to meet with teachers in PLCs and visit classrooms. But again, I agree, no 2 days seem to be the same.
Yeah, I really enjoy our time in our PLCs where we can kind of collaborate and talk about things that are happening and things that are coming up in the curriculum. And then I can kind of get into classrooms and model lessons or observe and provide feedback. So it's just spending time with students. And
how much impact do the coaches have on the in-service days? So if we have an upcoming 3-hour early dismissal and it's building-based, so you and Mrs. Stevens, I assume, would begin to plan some of that with your other specialists and what the plans are for the day.
Yeah, so a lot of times I take what our coaching conversations are happening in the, just in my building, and then I develop some themes based on what I'm seeing and what I see with the teachers, and then we develop some professional development opportunities based on that. So a lot of times that'll look like me leading a professional development session, or teachers are collaborating on a certain topic, but I spend a lot of time developing those.
Right. Great. So I have one more instructional coach question before we get to the AI conversation. Mm-hmm. Can you share a success story where you're confident that coaching made a clear difference for a teacher or for a group of students and had a tremendous impact that you're proud of?
Yeah, so a couple years ago at Upper Perk, we made the shift to the science of reading. And so what we decided to do was really embed ourselves in that body of research on how students learn how to read. So it wasn't just a specific teacher, but it was just all of our teachers in general. So we learned about the science of reading. We learned what the body of research was telling us. And then we began to make instructional shifts based on how students learn how to read.
And how do you bring new teachers that we're hiring since that point up to that level so that everyone continues to stay on the same page?
Yeah, so a lot of times when we have a new teacher that comes into our building, we start with just really looking at that data, starting to understand that these are our benchmark assessments. This is what our benchmark assessments tell us, and then start to help them plan their instruction based on that assessment. So I spend a lot of time in my coaching sessions looking at benchmark, diagnostic, and then summative, informative assessments.
So let's shift topics to artificial intelligence. I asked Dr. Farina for a list of teachers and staff that were power users and on the front end of using AI in Magic School so we can learn from a teacher about how to use AI and what's going on in our classroom. So your name was on the top of the list for usage. I didn't know what usage meant. I'm going to ask you to let me know again what that means in terms of how much you're using it. But I appreciate your willingness to talk and have a little more conversation about AI.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have been using, the district provides us with Magic School. So that's the specific AI tool that I've been using. I really like to use Magic School for a couple of different reasons. The first is really using it to help teachers generate ideas for lesson planning. So they have a tool that is text-dependent questions. And so what will happen is the teacher and I will be talking about different strategies on how to summarize or a specific standard that they want to focus on. on. And so what we'll do is together we'll upload that text into the text-dependent question prompt using Magic School. And it can be very general, where we can just say create a list of multiple choice or open-ended questions based on a specific standard, or we can put in a range of standards, or we can get even more specific and say we want multiple choice and open-ended questions with a depth of knowledge, and we can, kind of name that depth of knowledge, and AI will kind of produce those questions for us. So we use that a lot in our planning and using it just to really support instruction with the teachers.
Right. When I first heard of Magic School, I immediately went to the Magic School bus.
I
know it's not that. I learned that.
Yes.
I was hoping it was, because that I was familiar with. Is it fair to say that right now, really the AI boost right now going on in the district is really mostly at the teacher level, and definitely at the elementary level, I assume.
Yeah.
I mean, we know students are dabbling here. I know at the secondary level, it's a little broader conversation with our students, but elementary, it's mostly at the teacher level, especially your work.
Yeah, for sure. So I use it a lot, obviously, with the teachers. The teachers are really thoughtful about how they're using it and what they're using it for. They know, and we talk about that it's not replacing their expertise, but it's really just aiding them in their routine work, so they can spend more time with their students and really performing those tasks that they need to create deeper learning experiences for their students.
So in addition to Magic School, are there other AI tools or strategies that you see specifically helpful in supporting instruction planning for our teachers?
We mainly stick to Magic School. We feel like that really helps us with what we are trying to use. So that's really the main tool that we use.
Are there any kinds of professional learning or collaborative efforts amongst the teachers that help them grow and share? Do they work together in AI and share those things, or is it mostly one-on-one with you?
Yeah, so I see really just time in general is the best way that I'm kind of showing teachers the tool. First, it's just hands-on. So it could be just the teacher and myself, or it could be in a PLC where we're kind of just in Magic School and, clicking around, trying different things. But then the other is just time with their in PLC is just talking about how they're using it and what they're using it for. Yeah,
and time's an important piece. If I look at the results from our monthly climate survey that just took place this month, time is a big topic there. We hear loud and clear. People need time. There's time for lesson planning, time for working on new things like AI and feeling comfortable, time to collaborate with colleagues up and down. And that's a challenge, I think, in education everywhere, time.
Yeah,
but
sure.
We hear it loud and clear and know that that's an area we want to continue to explore.
Great.
So last question here. What advice would you give to teachers who feel uncertain or they're hesitant or think this is going to go by the wayside at some point in terms of engaging and learning more about AI and how it could help them in the classroom?
Yeah, so my advice for teachers exploring AI would just be to start small and stay curious. So I would have them pick one tool, give it a try, and then just continue to see how it's making a difference in their everyday planning. And just remember that AI is not replacing, but just to use it as a partner in their work every day.
Yeah, and some of the initial conversations I know we had as administration worried about confidentiality. And obviously we're not putting students' information into an AI tool, but you're putting in some prompts that help you, like I say, lesson plan. And I know there's some Magic School is designed just for us in terms of the program that teachers have access to.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, all right. Well, thank you so much for sharing your perspective and thoughts on AI, and appreciate the update on instructional coaching, because we're really proud of the program. I think it has some tremendous supports and want to continue to provide that support for our teachers and our staff in the classroom. Appreciate you spending time with us today. I certainly learned a lot, and I know our listeners will appreciate the information that you shared. So thanks again. Okay, welcome back. I'm excited to share that we have our first Upper Perk student on the podcast now. Joining me today is Upper Perk High School Junior Class President and recently sworn in student representative to the school board, Reagan Miles. Welcome.
Thank you so much. It's such a privilege to be here.
Well, congratulations on being elected Junior Class President and being sworn in as a student representative to the school board. School board meetings can be interesting. They can be fun.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're short. Sometimes they're a little longer, but you're definitely going to learn a lot while you're there. So how does it feel to take on both the leadership roles of being the board rep as well as, probably bigger, the junior class rep?
I'm so grateful for the opportunity. It was definitely a challenging process to get here, especially with campaigning this year, but it was definitely worth it.
Are you able to campaign with like candy and special incentives? Is that allowed?
Yes, yeah. I did cookies as part of my campaign process this year.
Home baked?
Unfortunately, no. We had almost 200 of them. So
Wow.
It was quite the...
That's great.
Yeah, this was actually the first year I used social media as a platform to campaign.
Great. Can you share your school pathway that you took to get to Upper Perk High School? Like what elementary school did you attend? And did you have a favorite school or teacher along the way?
Yes, actually, I started going to Upper Perk in kindergarten, so I've been here the full 11 years so far. I went to Hereford for elementary school, and I was actually the first class of the 4-5 center, so that was a great opportunity to do 5th grade there. And I started with the middle school as well because I started taking math there in 5th grade as well. And then after the 4th and 5th grade center in the middle school, I'm obviously now at the high school. I've loved all the teachers that I've had. Mr. Cavello was one of my favorites for English, and I learned a ton in that class.
Great. So I assume most of the people that are listening to this podcast are not current students, although it would be great if they were. So can you just help us understand what it's like to be a student at Upper Perk High School?
Yeah, there's so many opportunities, especially at the high school. We have so many clubs here, and it's such an inclusive place for no matter what group of students you belong to. Specifically, I'm thinking about FBLA, which is Future Business Leaders of America. It's a great opportunity to be a part of that club, especially because we go to regionals and a lot of trips throughout the school year. And I've been able to see that club grow from probably 30 people my freshman year, and now we have almost 100. So that was a great way to see that club grow so much and student involvement.
That's great. I know students definitely love field trips and opportunities to get out and meet other students. So in October, you attended your first board meeting, sitting at the table, giving your student report. You got sworn in, and you got your picture in the paper probably, I'm sure that happened. So how was your first meeting as a student rep, and what do you hope to learn from serving in this role?
It was really great. It's honestly unlike anything I've ever experienced before because I got to hear from so many different points of view, and I really didn't know what to expect going into it, but I heard from so many different people, and even in like conflicts of people disagreeing, it was overall a pretty peaceful display of different people's beliefs. So.
Good. Well, they're going to keep you on your toes because you'll never know when there's an opportunity where they're like, well, let's see what the students feel. And they'll kick it over to you. So you have to be ready. I know you'll have a report once a month, and you'll work with Ruth on that. But be ready because your voice matters. I mean, that's the nice part about I've seen other districts where they don't have students at the table. And although you're not voting on some of the action items, your voice matters, and you're going to carry that through. So thanks for doing that. But let's switch gears here. Let's talk about something that's new at Upper Perk that, from my understanding, has got people really, really excited.
Oh, yeah.
This is the new vending machines. I'm sure there were some here before my time, but I know Mr. Flanagan worked with some students last year, and that was a highlight. So tell us about the vending machines.
The vending machines have been such an amazing addition to our school. I know personally I've gotten so much use about them already. It's great to stay hydrated on meet days, practice days, anything. So many students, I've heard almost nothing but positive reports about them. They're being used by almost every single student, I will say, and it's great that the part of the funds at least, go to the junior class for prom tickets.
Yep. Yeah, so it helps to offset the cost there.
Yes.
And there's 4 machines. 2 I hear are available all the time.
Yes.
They have quote-unquote healthy snacks. And then there's 2 that are available after school or on the weekends, and they maybe have not so much great healthy snacks.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. So as we finish up our time here today, let's kind of take a look and reflect back on your journey at Upper Perk. Are there any teachers, staff members, or coaches who've made a big impact on you or inspired you in your journey? I know you mentioned one already. Is anyone else?
Yeah, I've had so many teachers that have made such a big impact on me during these years. But as a cross country and track athlete, my coaches have made such a big impact in my years here at Upper Perk. Specifically Coach Neiman and Coach Duza. Coach Neiman is actually a teacher at our school, and during cross country, I've learned so much about discipline, which has gone beyond my athletic career and applied into academics and taking classes as well. And Coach Neiman specifically has been such a big influence in helping me succeed in academics.
So when you
as well.
say discipline, you mean like self-discipline,
Yes.
taking care of, not discipline in your trouble.
Oh, no.
Okay, all right. Good. So what legacy do you hope to leave behind as a student leader and current junior president here at Upper Perk?
I hope to be able to influence other students to take a stand if something in their school is not going the way that they'd like. And since we have such a great student leadership team right now, I hope that continues in years following my graduation.
Okay. If you come across any other students here at the high school that have something to share and want to reach out to me, feel free to share my information to either talk in general or talk on the podcast or because I try my best to talk with students to hear what's going on. So Reagan, thank you for your time today and in sharing a little bit about yourself and about answering some of the questions that we've had. I appreciate you being my first student guest on the podcast and hope that you've had a good time today.
Oh, I did. Thank you so much.
Well, that wraps up episode 2 of Inside UP, the Superintendent's View podcast. Thank you to all 3 of our guests, Mr. Vigilante, Upper Perk Yeoman 4th and 5th grade center principal, Mrs. Mary Kay Raytek, instructional coach at Marlboro Elementary School, and student Reagan Miles, junior class president and one of our student reps to the school board, for joining me on today's podcast. I'd like to add in a possible new feature of a shout out that I received from a parent this week about one of our teachers. So if you're listening and you want to shout out a teacher or a staff member in the future, please email me the information. This shout out is about one of our Hereford Elementary kindergarten teachers from the parents of one of the students in the class. And I will quote a little from the email. So here we go. Our daughter loves kindergarten, and more importantly, she feels loved and cared for each day. She is thriving at home. She is sounding out words by implementing strategies taught by her teacher, Mrs. Lindemuth. Her excitement about her day is contagious. She is full of admiration, excitement, and curiosity each day she goes to school and comes home. Knowing that not only is your child learning and growing each day, but being cared for by an exceptional educator is paramount for any parent. As parents, we are so blessed, grateful, and beyond proud to have our daughter taught by Mrs. Lindemuth. We were both taken by the pure love she exudes at Meet the Teacher back in the spring. She wore a frog and toad shirt, and her voice was just as lovely as her teaching. To put it simply, Mrs. Lindemuth is the coincidental kindergarten teacher, and Upper Perk School District is beyond better because of her time, energy, love, compassion, dedication, structure, and the immense amount of drive Mrs. Lindemuth puts into her teaching each day. So I'd like to thank the parent that sent the shout out to me and would like to congratulate Mrs. Lindemuth for making such a positive impact in your classroom and on the students. Great job. What a way to wrap up our second episode. Looking ahead at our third episode, we will have another fun outing with hopefully another principal joining the conversation, as well as some information about Power School as Upper Perk begins to move away from Skyward and into another student management system looking ahead to next year. So thank you again to everyone for listening if you made it this far, and have a great rest of the day. And as always, I am proud to be UPSD.